Hi guys. I am doing a live video, which I don't normally do. I wanted to hop on because I said I would regarding the Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, Volume 2. Sorry guys, it's a little more zoomed than I was thinking it would be. So I wanted to tell you a little bit more about my chapter, and I really keep telling people that there's just such a wealth of information here on the other chapters. Um, there is everything from mindset to strong abs to money mindset, uh, amazing stories of what people have overcome. So, I'll circle back around and touch upon that briefly. Um, but I wanted to start a little bit on my chapter, give you a little insight on that, and then we'll go through some of the other ones that have jumped out. Feel free to drop in the comments any thoughts, or I always say where you're tuning in from. That's always fun. So I wrote chapter 24, and it is called Visualization, Train Your Brain and Your Pain. For those of you that follow this page, know I have a really big interest in neuroplasticity, which was a big part of my own healing and transformation journey. And neuroplasticity is basically the brain is malleable, its ability to change. We used to think that it was fixed, and then we learned a lot from stroke recoveries that the brain has the ability to rewire and make new connections and make changes throughout your whole life, which was something that only was really discovered and really talked about, I would say, in the last 20 years from everything I have learned about it. I am by no means a neuroscientist. So what I wrote was on the tool of visualization, and why I chose to write about that was because I had tried that tool, excuse the city background, so many times before. And I didn't really understand how to use it, understanding neuroplasticity. So in it, while I say train your brain and your pain, I also give examples of how to use it as a tool for general stress management, general life tool for everyday use. So basically, a lot of things that happen when we visualize, a lot of people have tried visualization. And it's a hot topic because a lot of pro athletes will do it. They imagine taking foul shots. That's discussed a lot in this information. And it's making the same connections as if that athlete was taking the actual foul shots. There's a lot of discussion. The brain doesn't really differentiate between what's being imagined and what is actually real. You're still creating new connections. But oftentimes then we visualize things that are very, very far away from where we actually are at. Well, let me go. So we visualize things that we're not really believing. I see that as a huge common stumbling block. I always say if we're at point A and you're visualizing something at point F, it's a big leap to try to believe this, right? So I always say we go for something in a little bit more of the middle ground, let's say around C or D. And then when we get comfortable with that, you can start adding out to here. So what I really hammered home is choosing visualizations that are less extravagant, and there's nothing wrong with doing them that way, but I see a huge stumbling block. It's kind of like then you go on this sort of automatic pilot doing something you don't really believe fully. You're not fully bought in. And it's so important when you're doing these things, you want to live it like it's happening. And that's how we start to create a new connection in the brain. So that is why I decided to pick that, because there's so much fine tuning, and I was thinking, maybe I could choose one of the tools that I find a little more unique or whatever it may be. But this is number one for anybody to be able to pick up a book and to follow it. But also, again, there's just so many stumbling blocks here. I felt I had visualized 2,000 times before I really learned how to fine tune it. So, and I'm big into giving you that tool so you can learn how to respond to difficult events in the moment and be able to change your internal response and your internal chemistry, kind of regardless of what's going on out here. And I said that as sort of a final point of so often we think, I can't feel inner peace or I can't be happy until XYZ changes, right? And with this tool, you're teaching about, some of her haikus. So that's chapter 15. Really, really awesome. Right off the start, haiku. How many times do you have to fall before you stop tripping yourself? Another one in here. Again, there's some really practical things. There's foam rolling. There's ab work. Doug climbed Mount Everest, which I think is incredible. So he climbed Mount Everest and talks about, again, the power of imagination. So it's kind of in conjunction a little bit without us even realizing what I talked about. I also talked about, when we talk about visualization, the importance of the reticular activating system, RAS, and was so pleased to see it does come up in other chapters. And so that comes up in the money healing chapter, which is about money mindset. And that's because, your RAS is filtering information all day long. It cannot take in possibly every single thing at every moment or your brain would be overloaded. So what you're doing with this stuff, a lot of these mindset things and visualization, et cetera, you're training that RAS, the reticular activating system, to start filtering information to confirm what it knows. So that is why you're priming it with things to look for. So that was in Holly's chapter 5, Money Healing, and had some really, really great tips. Decluttering, which I'm huge into. It's amazing how much our outer space can affect our internal state. Hi, darling. So that was another awesome chapter. And what other chapter? There's so many amazing chapters in here. So even I will get into bed and read a chapter each night and learn something. We have relationship detox in here, self-care, nature medicine, wilderness medicine. And so it's really amazing of that, even though you've got 25 different backgrounds, 25 different people, 25 different trainings, whatever you want to call it, there's so many similar themes in there. And again, I think mindset is a big one, that self-care is a big one, that stress is a big one, stress relief, reconnecting to the basics. So yeah, I wanted to just give you guys a quick glimpse into this. Qigong is in here. I actually used Qigong while I was early in my healing. I really suggest it for people that are, anybody actually, but it's so wonderful when you're more physically limited. So again, it's The Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, Volume 2. Lord DeFranco is the publisher. All of us are below here. I will drop the link in the comments on this. And there you can also find it on Amazon in the ebook and the hard copy. And if you guys have any questions about it or about the chapter, if you want more explanation on the chapter, definitely drop a comment in here. I'll check them and I can always do another video. Okay, guys, have a great night.